squirting, scientifically known as female ejaculation, remains a subject of curiosity and debate in both medical research and popular culture. Dr. Reena Malik, a urologist and pelvic surgeon, explains that squirting involves the emission of fluid from the urethra, commonly referred to as the P-tube, during sexual arousal or orgasm in some women. This fluid, which is often clear and colorless, can range from a small amount to a larger gush. To understand this phenomenon better, let's break down the female anatomy and its involvement in squirting. The urethra is the tube that carries urine from the bladder outside the body. Surrounding the urethra are the Skene's glands, small glands that are analogous to the prostate in men. These glands are thought to fill with fluid during sexual arousal, and when orgasm occurs, the pelvic floor muscles contract and press on the tissues around the urethra. This pressure can cause the fluid to be expelled from the body, leading to the phenomenon we call squirting. The fluid itself is a mix of dilute urine and secretions from the Skene's glands, containing an enzyme known as PSA, prostate-specific antigen, which is also found in the male prostate. Interestingly, research suggests that squirting and female ejaculation are two different things. Female ejaculation is typically a smaller amount of milky fluid released from the Skene's glands alone, while squirting tends to involve a larger volume of clear fluid that includes some urine. While scientific studies on this topic are still limited, it's estimated that around 40% of women report experiencing female ejaculation. For those interested in learning more about the differences between squirting and female ejaculation, Dr. Malik recommends checking out her previous video on the subject. Because squirting has been popularized in media, particularly in pornography, there's a lot of misinformation surrounding it. To better understand how women feel about squirting, researchers in Sweden conducted a study with 28 women who self-identified as squirters. These women were interviewed about their experiences, and three main themes emerged from their responses. The first theme was a feeling of amazement, pride, and even a sense of having a sexual superpower. For many women, squirting was part of a sexual awakening, with some actively seeking out techniques or partners who helped them learn how to squirt. These women often felt empowered by their ability to squirt, and saw it as a unique aspect of their sexuality. Some even discovered that they had squirted before but hadn't noticed until they paid closer attention during their sexual experiences. The second theme that came up in the interviews was a sense of indifference or disconnection from squirting. For these women, squirting didn't necessarily enhance their sexual pleasure or feel like an orgasmic release. In fact, some women didn't even realize they had squirted until they noticed the wetness on the sheets afterward. For these women, squirting was simply a neutral or even irrelevant aspect of their sexual experience. The third and final theme was discomfort or even shame associated with squirting. Some women found the experience messy or inconvenient, while others were embarrassed, thinking that they had urinated accidentally. This discomfort often stemmed from societal or cultural views about squirting and sexuality in general. Depending on how open or accepting their partners and communities were about sexual expression, women's feelings about squirting could range from embarrassment to confidence. While some women view squirting as an exciting and empowering part of their sexual experience, others find it to be a non-event or even an inconvenience. What's important to remember is that squirting is completely normal and that women who do or don't squirt are not having a better or worse sexual experience. Sexual pleasure is highly individual, and no single aspect, like squirting, defines the quality of an experience. For those who are curious about how to start squirting, there are a few techniques that some women have found helpful. The first step is understanding that squirting doesn't happen for everyone, and that's perfectly okay. However, for women who want to explore this aspect of their sexuality, communication with their partner is key. Letting go of any shame or embarrassment around the idea is important, as feelings of anxiety can inhibit the body's natural responses. Focusing on deep relaxation and pleasure during sexual activity is crucial, as these factors help facilitate squirting in women who are capable of it. Some women find that specific stimulation techniques, such as G-spot stimulation, can increase the likelihood of squirting. The G-spot is a sensitive area located on the anterior wall of the vagina, and pressure on this spot, combined with pelvic floor muscle contractions, may result in squirting for some women. Experimenting with different angles of penetration, rhythm, and pressure may help, but patience is important since squirting doesn't happen automatically. Another technique that some women have used involves experimenting with masturbation, either alone or with a partner. Using toys designed for G-spot stimulation, such as curved vibrators, can help apply consistent pressure to the right area. Again, it's essential to approach this exploration without pressure or expectation. Squirting should be about enhancing pleasure, not meeting a particular goal. Finally, it's important to stay hydrated, as squirting involves releasing a good amount of fluid. Drinking water before sexual activity can help ensure that the body has enough fluid to potentially squirt. However, always keep in mind that squirting is just one of many forms of sexual expression, and its absence doesn't indicate a lack of satisfaction or fulfillment in your sexual life. In conclusion, squirting is a natural phenomenon that occurs in some women, but it's not a requirement for a fulfilling sexual experience. How women feel about squirting can vary widely, from amazement and pride to indifference or even discomfort. The most important thing is to embrace your sexuality in a way that feels right for you, without judgment or pressure to conform to any specific expectations. To continue, it's important to emphasize that sexual health and exploration are deeply personal. For women who are curious about squirting, understanding their anatomy and embracing a comfortable mindset about their bodies are vital first steps. As mentioned earlier, squirting originates from the Skene's glands, which are anatomically similar to the prostate in men. These glands sit around and underneath the urethra, and during sexual stimulation, they can fill with fluid. When enough pressure builds, either from pelvic muscle contractions or direct stimulation of the G-spot, the fluid is released. This release, or squirting, may be triggered naturally or explored intentionally. Many women are curious about how to make this happen and may feel intrigued by the concept of achieving squirting. However, it's essential to note that not every woman will experience squirting, and that's perfectly normal. For those who want to try, the first step is removing any societal pressure or personal anxiety surrounding the act. Often, the idea of squirting is glamorized by media, but it's important to approach it as a natural physiological response rather than a sexual performance goal. Deep relaxation is one of the most important aspects of the process. Sexual pleasure, and therefore the ability to squirt, is closely tied to the mind. Feeling comfortable, safe, and open to the experience are crucial. Some women report that when they overthink or stress about whether they'll squirt, it becomes harder to reach that state. Instead, focusing on the sensations of pleasure and relaxation can help facilitate the process. For women who are interested, practicing deep breathing and focusing on physical pleasure during sexual activity may help them let go of unnecessary mental barriers. Stimulation of the G-spot, a specific area of tissue located on the front wall of the vagina, is often associated with squirting. The G-spot can be stimulated either during partnered sex or solo exploration. Many women find that positions that allow for deeper penetration can stimulate this area, such as positions where the angle of penetration can apply pressure to the anterior vaginal wall. For those exploring solo, using curved G-spot vibrators or fingers can help apply pressure directly to this sensitive area. It's also important to note that pelvic floor strength and control play a role in sexual pleasure, including squirting. Some women may benefit from strengthening their pelvic floor muscles through exercises like Kegels. These exercises involve tightening and relaxing the pelvic muscles, and can help increase awareness of how these muscles function during sexual activity. Some women who squirt describe the feeling as a buildup of pressure similar to needing to urinate, followed by a release of that pressure. By practicing muscle control, some women may find it easier to recognize and work with those sensations. Exploration and patience are key. Women should take their time to understand their bodies and discover what feels good for them. Squirting, like any other sexual response, varies greatly among individuals, and there's no right or wrong way to experience it. Partners can play a helpful role in this exploration by offering support, encouragement, and being attentive to their partner's needs. Communication is important for creating a comfortable environment for exploration, especially when trying new things. For some women, the experience of squirting can feel empowering and exhilarating. They may feel a sense of sexual mastery or a heightened level of satisfaction. Others may feel indifferent or even overwhelmed by it. In some cases, women may worry that squirting means they've lost control of their bladder, which can lead to embarrassment. This is why having an open dialogue with sexual partners and a positive, understanding approach to one's own body is critical. Hydration can also impact the experience. Since squirting involves the release of fluid, staying hydrated before engaging in sexual activity can be helpful. Drinking water throughout the day and before sex can ensure that the body has the fluid needed for squirting. Again, it's worth noting that the fluid released during squirting may contain a mix of dilute urine and secretions from the Skene's glands, which is entirely normal. If this mix is a concern, understanding that the act itself is a natural physiological response can help reduce feelings of self-consciousness. For women who have never squirted but are curious, it can be helpful to explore various resources. Some workshops, books, and online content are dedicated to sexual health and education, and these can provide valuable information on anatomy, techniques, and even partner communication. Learning from reliable sources ensures that the exploration remains rooted in understanding and respect for one's body. Ultimately, the bottom line is that sexual experiences, including squirting, are personal and unique. Whether or not a woman squirts does not define the quality of her sexual experiences. Some women may discover that squirting enhances their sexual pleasure, while others may find it inconsequential. There's no right or wrong way to experience pleasure. What's most important is that women feel empowered and comfortable with their bodies, embracing whatever experiences bring them fulfillment and satisfaction. In conclusion, squirting is a natural bodily response that some women experience, but it's not something that all women will encounter. It's important to approach this topic with curiosity and openness, while being mindful that everyone's body reacts differently to sexual stimuli. Whether you squirt or not, what matters most is the personal enjoyment and connection you feel with your body and your partner. Squirting is just one possible aspect of the complex and diverse realm of sexual pleasure. Squirting, as mentioned earlier, is a natural occurrence in some women, and it's crucial to normalize it rather than placing undue emphasis or shame around it. Women who are interested in trying to experience squirting can take a few steps to explore this phenomenon, though it's important to remember that not all women will squirt, and that's completely okay. Squirting does not define sexual satisfaction, nor is it an indication of a superior orgasm. It's simply one of many ways the female body may respond to sexual stimulation. For women who want to start squirting, the first step is to create a relaxed environment where they feel safe and comfortable. Stress and anxiety can inhibit sexual arousal, making it harder for the body to let go and respond naturally. Engaging in foreplay that promotes relaxation and arousal can be helpful. This might include massage, deep kissing, or any activity that helps women feel at ease and in the moment. Partners should also be aware of the importance of a relaxed atmosphere and contribute to creating an environment free from pressure or expectation. Once relaxed, focusing on stimulating the G-spot can increase the likelihood of squirting. The G-spot, located about 2 to 3 inches inside the vagina on the front vaginal wall, is often associated with the urge to squirt when stimulated. Women can explore this area with their fingers, applying a gentle but firm pressure in a motion that feels pleasurable. Some women describe it as a come here motion, using the fingers to apply pressure to the G-spot while simultaneously engaging the pelvic muscles. Others may prefer using a G-spot vibrator or dildo that's specifically designed to reach and stimulate this sensitive area. The experience of squirting is often preceded by a sensation similar to the urge to urinate. This feeling can make women anxious or hesitant to continue, fearing they might accidentally urinate during sex. However, it's important to trust the body's signals and remember that squirting is a different process, even though it may feel similar to the sensation of needing to pee. The fluid expelled during squirting comes from the Skene's glands and urethra, but it is not the same as full urination. Some women find it helpful to empty their bladder before engaging in sexual activity if they are concerned about this sensation. As stimulation of the G-spot continues and arousal builds, women may feel a buildup of pressure or tension in their pelvic region. At this point, focusing on deep breathing and relaxing the pelvic floor muscles can help release that pressure, which may result in squirting. Some women report that tightening and then relaxing their pelvic floor muscles, similar to Kegel exercises, can help trigger squirting. This sensation of letting go is crucial, as tension and trying to control the body's response can inhibit the ability to squirt. For some women, squirting may happen during partnered sex, particularly in positions that allow for deep penetration and direct stimulation of the G-spot. Positions like missionary with legs raised or variations of doggy style can help apply pressure to the G-spot. Communication with a partner is key, as adjusting the angle, depth, and rhythm of penetration can make a difference in how the G-spot is stimulated. Additionally, having a partner apply manual pressure to the G-spot with their fingers during intercourse can help facilitate squirting for some women. Masturbation can also be a helpful way to explore squirting on one's own terms, without the pressure of a partner. Many women find that experimenting with different types of stimulation, whether it's manual or using sex toys, gives them a better understanding of their body and what feels good. This solo exploration can help women become more comfortable with the sensations associated with squirting and understand how their body responds to different types of stimulation. Vibrators designed for G-spot stimulation, with a curved shape that targets the area, are popular choices for women looking to explore squirting. Some women may squirt during orgasm, but it's also possible to squirt without reaching orgasm. The two phenomena are related but not necessarily linked, and every woman's body will react differently. It's possible for women to squirt without even realizing it, especially if they are highly aroused and focused on other sensations. This is why some women only notice they've squirted when they see the wetness afterward. For others, squirting is a more noticeable experience that happens at the peak of sexual pleasure or in the moments leading up to orgasm. As with any aspect of sexual exploration, patience is important. Not every attempt will result in squirting, and that's okay. The key is to enjoy the process, focus on pleasure, and not become fixated on the goal of squirting. The body will respond naturally when it's ready, and trying to force the experience can lead to frustration or disappointment. It's also important to keep communication open with sexual partners, ensuring that both parties are comfortable and enjoying the experience without pressure. Another point to consider is hydration. Because squirting involves the release of fluid, staying hydrated throughout the day can help ensure that the body has enough fluid available. While it's not necessary to drink excessive amounts of water, being well hydrated can help facilitate squirting for those who are prone to it. Some women may notice that they squirt more easily after consuming a moderate amount of water, especially if they've already emptied their bladder before sexual activity. Ultimately, whether or not a woman squirts has no bearing on the quality of her sexual experience. Some women may squirt naturally and frequently, while others may never experience it at all. The most important thing is to focus on pleasure, relaxation, and mutual enjoyment with a partner. Squirting is just one aspect of sexual response, and its presence or absence doesn't indicate a more or less satisfying experience. In conclusion, squirting is a completely natural and normal phenomenon for some women, but it's not something that everyone will experience. For those who are curious, exploring the G-spot, practicing relaxation, and engaging in open communication with partners can help facilitate the experience. However, the ultimate goal should always be enjoyment and connection, rather than achieving any specific outcome. Sexual pleasure is deeply personal, and there's no right or wrong way to experience it. Explore the possibility of squirting. It's crucial to understand that patience and practice are key. Sexual responses, including squirting, often vary from one experience to the next, and even if it doesn't happen immediately, there's no need to worry. The body's natural rhythms and responses can take time to develop, and every woman's experience is different. Some may squirt during their first exploration, while others may need multiple sessions of sexual activity before it happens. What's important is enjoying the process, and keeping an open mind. It's also useful to mention that while squirting can be a new or exhilarating experience for some women, it's not an automatic marker of a better orgasm or higher sexual performance. Sexual pleasure and satisfaction are highly individualized. Squirting may add to the sexual experience for some, but for others, it might not play a role at all. Women should never feel pressured to squirt, or to feel as if they are missing out if it doesn't happen for them. Another aspect of squirting that often comes up is managing the physical aftermath. Because squirting can involve a release of fluid, it can sometimes create a mess, which might be a concern for some women. To manage this, women can use towels or waterproof sheets during sexual activity to make cleanup easier and to prevent discomfort. Preparing for the possibility of squirting beforehand can help reduce any potential embarrassment or worry about wetting the bed or furniture. Having these safeguards in place can make the experience more enjoyable and less stressful. For those who experience squirting and find it to be a regular part of their sexual encounters, it can be helpful to embrace it as a natural and normal function of the body. Some women feel a great deal of pride in their ability to squirt, seeing it as a form of sexual empowerment or even a superpower. In fact, many women in Dr. Malik's study described squirting as an awakening or a discovery of a new aspect of their sexuality that they hadn't previously been aware of. They found that their ability to squirt enhanced their sense of sexual confidence and self-awareness, making them feel more in tune with their bodies. For women who want to start squirting but have not yet experienced it, understanding and exploring their own bodies through masturbation is often a useful first step. Masturbation allows women to experiment without the pressure of a partner, helping them to focus on their own pleasure and sensations. Many women report that self-exploration gives them the space to figure out what works best for them and allows them to discover their body's specific responses. Incorporating G-spot stimulation into masturbation, either manually or with toys, can help build a deeper understanding of how to trigger squirting. Furthermore, women may find that their ability to squirt can improve or become more frequent over time with practice and increased familiarity with their own sexual responses. Just as with any other form of sexual learning, the more women explore and experiment, the better they can identify what stimulates them and what techniques work best. Some women may even attend workshops or read books that offer techniques for increasing the likelihood of squirting. These resources often provide information on anatomy, sexual health, and specific techniques that can be helpful for those looking to deepen their sexual understanding. Partners also play a significant role in the squirting experience. Communication is essential when trying something new, and discussing squirting with a partner can help ensure both people are on the same page. Sharing preferences, desires, and even concerns about squirting can make the experience more comfortable and enjoyable. If a woman is trying to explore squirting with a partner, they should be patient and supportive, understanding that squirting doesn't always happen on command and that it may take time. For partners who want to help facilitate squirting, focusing on G-spot stimulation can be particularly effective. Using fingers or toys to apply direct pressure to the G-spot, combined with attention to the clitoris, can enhance arousal and increase the chances of squirting. Partners should pay close attention to the woman's responses and cues, adjusting their movements and techniques based on what feels good. Sexual exploration is a shared journey, and both partners can benefit from taking their time, communicating openly, and discovering what works best together. Hydration, as previously mentioned, is another factor that may contribute to squirting. Staying well hydrated throughout the day helps ensure that the body has enough fluid to release during squirting. While this doesn't mean a woman needs to overconsume water, drinking a reasonable amount throughout the day can help ensure that there's enough fluid available. Some women find that they squirt more easily when they are well hydrated, especially if they've emptied their bladder before sexual activity. For those interested in exploring squirting through partner sex, experimenting with different sexual positions may also be helpful. Positions that allow for deep penetration and direct stimulation of the G-spot are often more conducive to squirting. For example, missionary with the woman's legs raised or doggy style can help increase pressure on the G-spot. Partners can also use their fingers to manually stimulate the G-spot during intercourse, which may make squirting more likely. It's all about finding the right combination of angles, depth, and rhythm that feels best. As women become more comfortable with squirting, it's important to maintain a positive and accepting attitude toward their bodies. Squirting, like any other sexual response, is part of the natural diversity of human sexuality. There's no reason to feel embarrassed or ashamed about it. By embracing the experience, women can focus on their own pleasure and enjoyment, letting go of any societal pressures or expectations. In conclusion, squirting is a natural and normal bodily response for some women, and it can be a rewarding part of sexual exploration. Whether through solo exploration or partnered sex, women can use various techniques to increase the likelihood of squirting, such as G-spot stimulation, relaxation, and deep pelvic floor control. However, squirting should never be seen as a goal in itself. The most important aspect of any sexual experience is enjoyment, connection, and satisfaction. For some, squirting will be part of that experience, while for others, it may not play a role at all, and either way, that's completely normal. To conclude, it's important to remember that squirting is just one of many possible sexual responses that a woman may or may not experience. While some women report finding it pleasurable or empowering, others may not experience it at all, or they may feel indifferent about it. The variation in sexual experiences is completely natural, and no single act defines the quality or intensity of pleasure. For women who are curious about squirting, exploration in a safe, relaxed, and pressure-free environment is key. Whether through solo exploration or with a supportive partner, understanding one's own body and responses is central to having a fulfilling sexual experience. Communication, patience, and comfort are essential elements that can enhance sexual exploration, including the possibility of squirting. It's also essential to remember that sexual wellness is not about achieving any particular outcome, but about finding what brings joy, connection, and satisfaction. For some, squirting may be part of that journey, while for others, it may not play a role at all. Either way, it's important to focus on what feels good and to enjoy the unique experiences your body offers. Ultimately, the most important takeaway is that sexual experiences vary greatly from person to person, and there's no right way to experience pleasure. Squirting is just one possibility among many, and women should feel empowered to explore and embrace their bodies in whatever ways feel comfortable and enjoyable to them.